Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the ESL UK Premiership. My name is Munchballs, and joining me once more is Jackie, and we're in for a series, ladies and gentlemen, as it is the working men up against United Estonia. And United Estonia, despite being 4th seed, managed to take that first map 16-13, and kind of a bit of an upset, in all honesty, on Dust 2.
I mean, obviously, they're map picks. They should have that confidence there, but a crazy one. You don't really expect it. UE, they've had so many perils throughout the season of players coming and going and things just not going right, but they get here. Everyone's popping off. They're back in action. The entire squad, even Alexi, the coach, showing up, boast of that return to form with so many fantastic individual plays. Just overall, great stuff from either team, really. It was down to the wire. The working men definitely could have taken that.
Yeah, it really could have gone either way, and a couple of those rounds towards the end were just so crucial.
Yeah.
And you could tell how close the game was because it felt like every round, if not every other round, was a force fight or an eco from one of the teams because it was so back and forth. Nobody could just consistently keep that economy on top. They ended up kind of just losing out on those rifles over and over again. But the second map now is going to be Cash, as you can see on your screens. Now, Cash, a fairly similar playstyle to Dust 2. Do you think that we're going to see the very same kind of playstyle here in terms of just that very aggressive play until, you know, I mean, to be fair, we saw less aggressive play towards the end of the game. It really slowed down on the second half. But do you think we're going to see a similar playstyle on this map?
I think we're going to see an awful lot of aggression coming out, but it'll still be different in the sort of style of CS we see. Mostly this time around is going to be a lot more structure on that CT half. That's where you're going to see it actually coming into effect. The CT half on Dust 2 for both of these teams was still very aggressive. We saw these quite sort of overly aggressive plays, you could say, that gave away quite a few rounds that were unnecessary. Here, it'll be a little bit more structured. Everyone's going to try and sort of keep it down a little bit. It'll be more drilled, and that's sort of what you want to do on a map like Cash. But there's always that chance. You never know. I mean, teams like both of these, we see those moments where they just want to go for those overall plays, but most likely things will be a little bit more calmer here.
Yeah, that's what I fully expect to see. And, you know, on Cash during the regular season, kind of the standard strategy was, you know, spread out across the map, look for picks, play that game of, you know, find out what the opponent is doing, get that information before we commit to anything crazy. And I fully expect that to be kind of the style of CS that we see coming from the terrorist side. And obviously, the counter-terrorists, it's pretty much the same playstyle on every map. You know, you hold the angles until you know where they're going. Yeah. Like that's kind of the game in a nutshell, so don't need to worry about that one too much. But the working men now, you know, they're going to have to be working men because the work is cut out for them. They are one down in this series. It is only a best of 3. If they lose this map, they are knocked out of the semi-final. And to be honest, like, everybody I've talked to was fully expecting them to go through into the finals. And this will be, if they get 2-0, that will be the upset of the Premiership.
So here's the thing, Joe. I remember famous last words from last season when I was there. And the first cast of the day, I said, whoever comes out of Group A will be the winner of the event. And at that time, that was Choke Gaming and Infused. And United Estonia won that. So now we're here, and once again, I've said, whoever comes out of this first group will be the winner of the event. And you're looking at it, the working men were always that team that was supposed to fight their way through. Basically, everyone assumed they're in the final. United Estonia getting that first map puts a bit of a dampener on things, and there is that factor. UE, definitely with the confidence behind them now. Everyone, the working men, they looked a little bit downhearted after that. If they don't get their heads up and just take that as a best of 1, put that aside and reset for Cash, this could be UE repeating history once again.
Yeah, it really could. And I mean, I remember last finals, I was the only commentator that was like, you know, UE could be a dark horse. This could happen. And this time round, I was less confident in them than I was that time. And they're still making it happen. UE is just the ultimate dark horse team. They will step up when they get to LAN. It's just like, I think maybe it's just the adrenaline on stage. Maybe there's just something there. But when they get to LAN, they just step up every single time.
Well, you do have those power players. We know sort of definitely even from their personalities alone. And a lot of the people on this team, they get that hype behind them, and that's what keeps them going. I mean, Boaster and Joe, especially look at those two. As soon as they have a little bit of confidence, you see sort of the giggles coming out, the fun. Everyone gets riled up, and that brings them there. Then you've got Alexi. If things get a little bit damp and he needs to try and bring it back, get everyone reset, he can obviously. He's been coaching for so long. They've got a bit more of a dynamic here now. I feel like the personalities over on that side and sort of the emotions of the team are going to be a lot more stable, whereas the worker men, it could be quite versatile and really sort of fluctuate a lot. You don't know what their mindset could be going into this, and that's the scary factor.
It certainly is. And We do have admins just crowding around one of the players' PCs right now. I think we should be able to get the game going fairly shortly, just making sure everything is hunky-dory for the players. Obviously, want them in kind of the perfect situation to be able to make these games happen. And United Estonia, as I said, 1-0 up in this series, and they're looking towards Cash as the second map. Now, I'm curious to see if the Working Men do win Cash and move on to a third map. I'm really curious to see kind of how playstyles differ when we head over to Mirage, because Mirage, we already talked about it briefly earlier. It's a very, very different map to these first two of Cash and Dust 2.
It is, and the thing is, basically for me, this was always a win-in-2 situation for UE. If they were going to win this, they had to take Dust 2, and then they had to finish it up clean and easy over on Cash. Mirage is one of these maps that the Working Men, in every iteration they've been on the build-up to here, sort of as lineups have changed and we've sort of had them work their way through to what they are now, Mirage has always been one of these maps where they've dominated without fail, time and time again. So much individual skill on display. Fry as well, interestingly enough, that could be the perfect environment for him to finally get his confidence on land. Because he's one of these players that it seems Mirage is just his domain. Whenever he's playing Mirage, he's going to be just consistently tearing people apart. No matter where it needs to be, he'll find those entries and find some more for free, Joe. So if we can see some of that from Fry, that'd be fantastic. So Mirage, definitely a scary one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Fry is one of the absolute crucial kind of parts for the Working Men, and like statistically he was the Working Men's kind of MVP throughout the group stage, and if he can step up, if he can find that comfort zone here in LAN, then they are very likely to take these maps and they are very likely to push on forward. But in that first map, you know, there were some rounds where he did really step up. He did win a couple of rounds for his team, but he wasn't exactly top fragging, which is what we've kind of come to expect from him. So we need him to step up, and a similar story from Robin. Like, Robin was kind of second on the scoreboard. He was doing well, but he wasn't this, you know, exceptional star player that we're so used to Robin being. You know, he was the first one here yesterday on rehearsal day. He'd arrived at like 11:30 or something, like long before the other players were here, long before he needed to be here, so that he could get on stage, so that he could practice, warm into things, and make sure that he was ready for today. And we are seeing that consistency there. We've just not seen any of those kind of exceptional, crazy plays coming out from it.
I mean, that's the thing as well. It seems like, though, he has sort of had to hold himself back a little bit, because Robin was always this player that basically initiated the hero plays, and then things fell into place off the back of what he was able to achieve. But into that game, there was no breathing room for him to try and go for those really aggressive peaks, because if he did so, they could have been shut down. That could have been the game straight away, because UE just had quite a tight grasp on them. They wasn't going to let go. They had no breathing room, and they were choking at that point. So unfortunate stuff from it. It looks like we are finally in the way into Cash. The 9th round will be underway. We'll be jumping into the action, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the second game. Ignore the top right of your screen. It is not game one of Reason versus Infused. This is the Working Men versus United Estonia. United Estonia 1-0 up in this series. Looks like the Working Men will take the 9th round for themselves. So they're going to be able to decide which half of Cash they want to begin with. And I mean, you know, CT generally is a standard, like, good call to start with. But I mean, we talked about kind of maybe going for Terrorist, getting those AKs, being able to warm into it a little bit. Could have been good on Dust 2. Do you think that's still the case now that they've already played a game?
It depends entirely on if they want to set the pace of the game, basically. If they want to try and take that aggression and basically be, this is what you need to be on your T side, this is what you have to bring to the table. Yep. Both of these teams are fairly exceedingly good at their CT half. We've never really seen anything subpar come out from either of them. Their T half's always been the thing that's kind of been a little bit shaky at times. So that's where I say most likely they would start out, get that underway, and then move over to their CT half where they know it's going to be a little bit safer later on.
Yeah, absolutely. But the warm-up has begun, and we should be able to kick this game off very shortly. I think all the players are just readying up. I think everything, looking over towards the stage, the admins are gone, so I think everything is fine and dandy now. So we should be able to get this game underway here on Cash. And it looks like the Working Men have decided to go for that CT side to kick things off. So happy to let the AKs go towards United Estonia for now, and they're just wanting to play it safe, I suppose, to start things off. I mean, it's like you said, if you start that T side, you can kind of set the pace of the game. But if you're starting on CT, you're happy to let them set the pace. You're happy to just sit back and go, okay, let's work out, let's kind of get a feel for the map, see what's going on, and then in the second half of the game, we can try and match it. We can try and beat it.
Yeah. That's the thing as well. It's hard because there's not too much you can actually transfer over from either of these teams on how they play on their CT half, and that aggression is going to transfer over. Most likely the only thing you'll really work out is if they want to go for aggressive plays through smokes. That'll be roundabout the most you can gather. But slow stuff coming out. Let's see what this pistol round play will be. UE have a little bit of utility on one man. The rest of them obviously going for the armor. This is a nice play as well from the working men. They want to scout their way out, realizing that it's not going to be a B play early. It will be that mid aggression trying to pinch their way on towards the A bomb site, and it's an open door. The welcome mat is down. They're allowed in, but will they be able to get picked off by the retake? That's going to be the question. It has to be a nice one a little bit later in towards the round.
Yeah, certainly will. No kills so far. There's a lot of information though. A nice little tag coming out from T-Sac. Does find the first kill of the round, and United Estonia, they've got the bomb down. So good start for both teams, to be quite honest, but now it's about the retake coming through. Fry trying to find these headshots, but nice little defensive positioning from United Estonia, not going for these long-range fights, and Joe actually finds one to start things off, but the push has begun. All 4 CTs pushing in, and actually Jacob just goes straight for the defuse. Isn't going to be able to get away with it though. Now 3 versus 3 as Joe comes in from behind. He's got that Glock to spray them down with, and will find another headshot. Robin, the last man remaining, as Robin is desperately trying to dance through the smoke. It's not going to happen though. Joe with a hat-trick to start things off, and United Estonia once more take the advantage.
That was all over the place that round. Ridiculous stuff there. Going in, obviously, didn't want to try and clear the site, just thought they'd just jump straight on it. They had the manpower to just try and defend it, but things went a bit awkward. Joe with a nice flank coming out. Boaster as well was the key man. Luckily, was able to stop Jacob from winning the round for his side. So, good way to start this one off for United Estonia, but we've seen it happen before. Will they be able to actually link this together, or are they going to lose this follow-up round? This would put them in, once again, a horrendous spot.
Yeah, well, that's what we saw on the first map. It wouldn't be too far-fetched to consider seeing it again, especially with the CZs coming in for T-Sac and Fry. We know how powerful that weapon is. We know that it's easily capable, but Alex C shuts one of them down straight away, using that Galil to its full effect. But Robin did have that counter boost. I thought he was going to go for a very aggressive play there to try and get the flank, but does decide that that is just not the best idea right now and decides to back away. But UE, certainly with an advantage here. Still deciding where they want to go, looking like they're heading towards that B site though.
This is actually really nice, by the way, by UE. I love this because they've actually taken it slow. They got Alex E boosted on top of Starline early on because then you can get that pick on the first player if he goes for an aggressive play at mid. And it's slow. They aren't going overly aggressive and just running into these pistols that are going to do so much damage at close range, using their nades quite well. But things have gone a little bit wrong now as Robin found one and Dudley got the follow-up as well. He will actually get taken down, spammed away by that Mach 10. So a bit of a cash injection going over towards Joe, but it'll mean nothing if they lose the round. But just coming up towards the A-bomb site, Joe just sitting over by Electric Box, should find this frag on towards Robin, really needs to do so, it's critical, but can he do it?
It's going to be the question. The Galil in the hands of Robin, they definitely can take this round, but Robin will be shut down by Joe, and he pushes out, gets shut down by Fry, and now Fry with the Mach 10, he can make this happen, especially if he can get up close and personal, but Boaster holds the angle perfectly and gets one right between the eyes of his opponent, and that means that United Estonia, by the skin of their teeth, get that second round on the trot, and now they can go for a full rifle. They know that the working men pretty much have to eco this.
Yeah, really going to have to just go for that save here. And a round that went so weird towards the end there for United Estonia. Great stuff towards the beginning, really playing it quite smart, and then unfortunately, things just went a little bit south towards the end. Even then, they did the hard part. If they can get this third and final round as well, it'll be great, and they're moving in. That's where it's really going to be quite hard for them. First rifle round, they have to keep that aggression going. Jacob was going to go for the counter boost up and towards vents. 3-man play towards the B bomb site. Obviously, just playing a retake, it's going to work out probably the easiest for them. Push comes in, Chetty's going to be the one to initiate things. Only a deagle, so he's not that scared. He can try and go for the aggressive play and see if he can kick it off. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to do anything just yet, and his teammate's actually been taken down. No revenge frag coming in, but Joe will take down Dudley. As a team frag as well.
Fry will take down Robin as well. Chetty stepping onto the scene, and now T-Sac, last man, does get taken down by Joe. So a fairly comfortable round for United Estonia. Not as much economic damage done as the working men would have wanted. As you see, Fry stepping up here. I say stepping up. It's probably the wrong word for that situation. Does get one in the back of his teammate's head, but here we go. A rifle buy versus a rifle buy, and take a look at the lack of utility coming out from the working men here.
Yeah, nothing really to work with. Only 2 smokes there available, Joe. This is going to be a hard round if we see aggression from UE, and seems like they want to try and do so. Going to force out those smokes quite early on. Nice bit of damage transferred over towards Robin as well. 20 HP swiped off him early.
certainly is. And now, looks like, again, this is kind of the setup that we were talking about before on this terrorist side. Just spread out across the map, work out where your opponent is kind of focused, try and find a pick for your team. And if that pick does happen, then that's kind of like the green light. That's like, okay, now we have an opening. Now we have a place that we can start to push in. Chetty, though, going to get boosted up mid. Does have the orb to work with, but he's not actually going to be able to find anyone straight away. And it looks like the mid play is going to be the call here.
Yeah, it's going to be that mid to A with one player boosting out late from main to try and take the A site. They've done a good job to actually clear out the first one. Robin getting taken down. There's the man on the scene. That's T-Sack, and he's doing a fairly effective job of defending his mid. Wants to keep it under lock and key as he takes down Joe. But what else can he achieve? A 4 versus 4, still lying in wait, but Boaster will eventually go for that sneaky play as he just worms his way up towards the A bomb site.
It's 4 versus 4, all of the rifles still in play, but T-Sack is making this round work for his team. There's a nice little shot from Dudley as well. And suddenly, United Estonia not looking all too healthy in this round. Still got Chetty with that orb. If he can find a couple of picks, this is still very doable for them. He's going to be holding off towards A main as Boaster has to try and take these fights, but Jacob doesn't actually finish off the kill, but it doesn't matter because Dudley is on the scene, live and kicking, has that up in his hands and has a hat-trick for himself, no less.
Yeah. Nice stuff from Dudley, obviously in quite an effective position, just waiting by truck. They had to peek into him at that time, and he's been able to just take them down one by one. Really nicely done. UE obviously losing their first round so far into cash. Money-wise, they can get the buyout, but it's going to be a little bit iffy. We'll be able to distribute it and see how it goes. Utility is going to be lacking on a few of their players.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we'll see if they can make this happen for themselves. Obviously, Chetty with no grenades whatsoever there, but it's not the end of the world for your AWP. Obviously, that AWP is kind of the reason that that player has no grenades. He's spent that extra bit of cash, but, you know, as I say that, immediately just gets shut down, and that means now this looks incredibly dicey for UE. And, you know, if they lose this one, it's likely going to be turned into a 3-3 scoreline because, you know, it's very difficult to come back, especially with how little money they've got in their pockets on the back of this one.
Yeah, it's been a bit of an awkward game as well for Mick there. Tried to go for that early mid-aggression to find the frag, but unfortunately couldn't do so. Now, it just rides on the Three Musketeers of United Estonia as this push towards the B site. Here's the desperation play. There's nothing else they can really do. They just want to group up and try and go for it. Fortunately for Joe as well, the Molotov spreading towards the end. It's a bit of a tag off towards him. Jacob, this is a prime time angle to just dispatch anyone that peeks him. And daintily, he fires off that first shot to remove Joe from the situation. Fry as well. He just hides towards the back of the bomb site. That's the first pick on towards Alex, and then gets the second as well on towards Boaster.
Yeah, Fry's play, the opposite of dainty right there. Just steps out and mullers a couple of players comfortably with that M4. And now the working men in a fantastic spot. And there's that crisp little shot from Jacob as well as Fry just stepping on into the situation. Finds the second man, fully flashbanged, and gets a nice easy couple of kills for himself as Chetty actually getting knifed there by his own teammate to start things off here for UE. But, you know, with this kind of buy, UE certainly not going to be looking all too fantastic heading into this round, but with the pistols, you can still make things happen. They've got that Tech 9, they've got a couple of flashes to work with, but Dudley finds one to start things off, and it's going to be Robin chiming in as well with a headshot on that M4. Gets a nice spray onto 2, and that is this attack from United Estonia well and truly stopped in its tracks. 4K for Robin. Easy round for the working men.
I mean, that is nice. That's what you want as well. It's going to be those eco frags, but mopping them up quickly doesn't allow them to force any rebuys out from the working men side. Just what they wanted. They don't want to spend any more cash than they have to, because even though they're starting to build up a bit of a bank, that working men economy on that CT side can be so volatile. If you get put down early, it takes a while to actually build it back up. So they're in a nice, healthy spot right now. They need to try and keep it rolling.
Yeah, they certainly do. Joe has been taken down, Chetty and Alexi as well dropping. His T-Sack is just on point this game. He's been doing so phenomenally for his team, but it is going to be 3 versus 2 now. As kills are traded, but the bomb is down in the middle of the map. That is not a good spot to have dropped that objective. Dudley going actually for a bit of a flank here, trying to find a way around behind his opponents. But the thing is, when you've got that AWP, it's very risky to push too far. You don't want to find yourself in a 1 versus 2.
Yeah, if he overextends here, there is always that potential that he can get picked off, and it's going to cost him a little bit of cash to actually get that AWP back out. Actually, I don't really want to spend. Has a fantastic angle. They are going to walk straight into him. As well there with the patience, took the shot on towards Boaster, and it's all riding on Mick. Most likely, if he could just find an entry on towards the site, then he might be able to achieve something. But it's all riding on Dudley. He's just walking around right now and just taking picks all over the map.
Yeah, Dudley is feeling comfortable and confident in this map, apparently. 7-3 on that player, but we've got 3 players now at the top of the scoreboard, really. 7, 6, and 8 kills coming out from Robin, T-Sack, and Dudley. So they're definitely feeling much more warmed up, and it's only Joe on the other side that's really close to those scorelines. So maybe we need to see these United Estonia players kind of stepping up a little bit, just getting a little bit more comfortable on this map. But the working men starting to feel like that team that we saw in the group stages a little bit on this map. Those rounds specifically, when you see those crisp shots coming out from Dudley, we've seen T-Sack stepping up as well. Those are the kind of things we're expecting to see. As Jacob, unfortunately, doesn't quite land his first shot, but gets the second one, and Fry is stepping up here. Gets a couple in a spray and finishes off another very, very quick round for the working men.
Yeah, really nice. A whole different story from Dust 2 for Fry. 7 frags already on the board. Really just dispatching anyone that comes in towards that B bomb site. Doesn't even want to allow them on site. So this is quite nice. Jacob, obviously, as well. Played fantastically throughout the group stage. And it's looking like he's starting to work his way back into it now with that AWP. Landing a couple of impact frags towards B to just hold him back.
And as you can see, James Bond being called out in chat. Mick yet to get a kill on the board on 7. That's not a good situation to be in, and especially when your opponent is goading you. That's never going to be fun, and possibly trying to invoke the laws of TILT onto his opponents there, but we'll see if it's going to happen as the 4 Ts start to push in onto this side now. It's going to be a nice shot from Dudley. Very interesting position from Dudley, actually, on this CT side. Does get shut down by Joe in the end, and Robin is going to get taken out by Joe as well, who's trying to take this site single-handedly because Chetty is suddenly the last man remaining. He's got that AWP, but he's against 3 people, and he's not even close to the bomb.
Yeah, Chetty. This is a pretty awkward spot to be in. That's even more awkward as he goes for the peek there. Had the AWP in his hand, but Fry just rails him down, as we can see here as well. There's been so little rebuys forced out, and that economy is starting to boom out of control for the Ts. They don't really have to worry about spending too much cash, and UE as well. They've got that max loss bonus now, so they will be able to keep getting the rifles out, but they need to learn how to use them soon, or the scoreline's only going to get worse.
Yeah, interesting that they didn't all go for full grenades there. Like, Mick definitely could have afforded to go for a little bit more, but decided just to go with the double flashbang. Maybe not wanting to commit to this round too much, and then hoping next round they'll be able to do more. Dudley, what is going on? He is on fire this game. Mick and Chetty do answer for his kills, and Chetty actually finds the second one as well. So now they're going to get the bomb down. United Estonia finally with the advantage in a round.
Got that site on lockdown as well. Jacob trying to come in for the retake, has the backup of his teammate Fry. Nice use of utility to force the Ts out of position. They can't find the shots. Jacob will eventually do so though with the AWP. Rails down Chetty. Can he link it into the secondary one? Unfortunately with the peak being a little bit awkward. Alex Z just charging towards him, pulling the trigger. Takes him down and recovers that weapon as well.
And I think that was, just look at this play from Dudley. This is, I feel just overconfident at that point. There's no need to push that deep with an AWP, but obviously it worked out. He got 2 kills for himself. Yeah. I'm not saying that it was a bad play, but I feel like that's the point where it looks like the working men are maybe getting a little bit cocky. Maybe just kind of taking this advantage a little bit too lightly.
We've seen that actually come into effect to be very useful though. Dudley as well, the way he's been doing this, it's not been standardized. He has been switching it up quite a lot. Yeah. So it does catch them off guard, and if you're able to do that and consistently get 1 or 2 frags every time, and you know, you're going to want to try and keep that up. Around there is actually a full buy as well, looking quite awkward for United Estonia. The early mid-aggression found them to just be obliterated. 3 players already eliminated from the squad. It's just Joe and Boaster left, and they don't have a lot of utility left between them, and only a Galil over on Boaster as well. They want to try and take this A bomb site. They can recover the bomb, but Dudley has that angle on lockdown. Look at this position as well. He's been so cheeky in the way he's been playing today.
Yeah, he certainly has. And I mean, Dudley has just been the star of the show for the working men right now over towards that A site. See if he can continue that performance. It's T-Sack looking for the final kill of the round, and it's actually going to be Robin who gets the headshot in the end onto Boaster. And Working Men, despite going against a full buy from United Estonia, who had finally managed to get around on the board, it didn't matter whatsoever. The Working Men get yet another round, and that basically just means that United Estonia, their loss bonus is gone now. It's all just completely reset once more, and this is starting to look a little bit dicey now for United Estonia. They need to find a way back into this one and shut down the kind of momentum that the Working Men have managed to achieve.
Yeah, this is the worst case scenario to be in right now, as you were saying. No cash to play with, they just have to go for these desperation force pushes towards the A bomb site, and they're just getting torn to shreds, really just opening themselves up for the brutality coming out from the CTs as Robin just picking off anyone that walks in towards his crosshairs. Alexi will eventually tap him down with that P250 though. The final man to go down will be Boaster.
Yep. And another round for the Working Men. They're running away with this game right now, and United Estonia, to be honest, can't really afford many more losses on this point. Like, 8-4, we're already past the halfway point kind of thing. Like, if United Estonia win the rest of the rounds, they're still down a round going into the second half. And the Working Men, pretty much, they're just playing for bonus at this stage. They're just playing for that extra padding going into the second half of the map. But Joe starting things off right, and Chetty finds one as well. This is the round that they've been looking for, getting a couple of picks, damaging the economy. And now with the numbers advantage, if they can maybe find a couple of those rifles, then they could be in a good spot to ruin this streak that the Working Men have been on.
Scary factor is though, Joe, if once again they repeat history and actually claim this round, they need to get the follow-up, or their economy is still just going to be busted, and then they'll probably be ending the half in sort of a 5-10 scoreline, which isn't really what you want on that T half. They need to try and do a little bit better than that, but you never know. Let's see what the future holds right now. Still in a good spot. Boaster is going to be coming in to regroup with his teammates. Fry is trucked over towards Sunroom. We'll have the information though and can tell T-Sac what's going on. He can rotate over. He goes through vents, could go for the backstab. Fry actually claims one frag and turns it into two as well. He's doubled it up now. This is fantastic. They could really retake this and do a great job. T-Sac, as he just drops his way in, shouts hello towards Boaster as he rails one bullet into his cranium, and it just rides on Mick. Back of the site, Deagle in hand. He's going to need to roll back the ears towards Source with a weapon like this if he wants to land the frags, but he does so nicely as he gets one, and then the second onto T-Sac. Mick, you absolute madman.
Mick just taking things into his own hands right there, using that hand cannon, gets the lobotomy onto those two players, through the box as well on the first kill. That was absolutely a masterclass in Deagle play. And now United Estonia, they've got rifles again, they've found a way in, and just take it. I'm not even going to talk about this, just watch this.
He's been able to get away with that. T-Sac obviously just couldn't quite close it out.
Yeah, the fact that he missed the second one and still managed to get away with it was a little bit unfortunate really for the Working Men, to be quite honest. Should have really been able to capitalise on that. Now Chetty with the AWP, trying to find a good angle onto Dudley, who does get blinded, and that means he does have to back away a little bit. And again, Dudley with these super aggressive positions on this counter-terrorist side, but now I think the trying to sell the fake that this is going to be an A push, but again, spread across the map, not deciding where they want to go just yet. And look where Boaster is, actually. Boaster's still just sat in spawn, waiting maybe for the rotation, just lurking in that role, wanting to see what's going to happen before he commits to anything.
Yeah, he's just holding back, seeing if anyone is going to go overly aggressive. He has the information there as well, dividing that site in towards two. Dudley still switching it up with his positions. He's done a good job of actually using quite a few off angles, and he's very effective at landing those shots from those. He's going to get that information. Here's the audio cues of everyone flooding out, but now it gets awkward. Look how open he is here. He's just going to be able to get railed down. Alexie's the one to put him into his grave, and it rides on the three Musketeers. T-Sac, Fry, and Jacob. They're going to have to try and retake this. A little bit of utility to work with. They do have those smokes and flashbangs, but can they find the opening?
It's going to be the question. Going in the eyes of Joe right now, but T-Sac trying to push in, does get one from Truck, but there's still 4 terrorists remaining. Still a mountain to climb right now for the Working Men if they want to take this round, and actually, this is such a crucial round for them. Fry does manage to get yet another one. Shots from Jacob not quite connecting, but Alexi answers 1 versus 2 now as Fry pushing onto the side. This is the player we needed to step up, but he can't make it happen. And Alexi with the 3K puts United Estonia back on the map here. And we are going to see yet another rifle versus rifle round here. This has been a bit of a treat towards the end of this game because of the amount of money that the Working Men had built up for themselves. They've been able to go for these rebuys, but United Estonia consistently just about taking it. And I think This is basically United Estonia have now got the knack of how Dudley is playing over towards that A site, and they've kind of worked out how to play around that.
It's great as well, though, because that's the thing. It just keeps this action so intense because the working men, they dominated early on. Now United Estonia finally get this win for their wings. I was expecting that 10-5 scoreline. Looks like it could be that 8-7, and UE, that's enough breathing room to work with. We know how powerful their CT half can be, and for the working men, they need to try and get this round. 9-6 would sound so much better for them than that 8-7.
Yeah, and you know, it feels like it's not that important sometimes when you're looking at those scores. They're very similar, but at the end of the day, off the back of a pistol, a 9-6 can very rapidly turn into a 1 game, whereas 8-7, it still doesn't feel as convincing. And it's more about how your opponent's score more than it is about your own score. It's about the fact that if you then lose that pistol, you suddenly find yourself 2 rounds down, which is never a situation anyone wants to be in. But 4 versus 4 here in this round. The AK's in the hands of these Estonians. Oh, actually, there's only one of them is an Estonian, and he's actually dead, so it's actually in the hands of the UK players. But T-Sack opens this one up, traded straight back by Mick, and it's going to be Mick finding a second one for himself as well. Opening this round wide for his team, and the CTs of the working men are on the wrong half of the map right now. They've got to get this rotation through. Dudley does have that AWP to work with. Beautiful little factory new Asimov. But can he make it happen? He's been absolutely stellar with that weapon so far this game. But it's been from holding those positions, it's not really been on the retake.
That's true. The off angle has been playing, he's really catching everyone off guard, but it's a little bit different. This retake can be so awkward as well, as no one needs to peek. They're in great after plants on the side of UE. Dudley wants to try and get the opener and realizes now time is not in his favor. He has to push in. They have cleared the site. He has the kit as well, so can jump on the bomb. Forced to beat to come out. He all rides on Jacob. Unfortunately, he gets taken down, and there's Mick keeping that height behind him.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that means that we go into the second half on an 8-7 scoreline. I thought, to be honest, for a little bit there during that, when working men were really getting into their stride, getting a few rounds on the trot, it felt like maybe this second map wasn't going to be as close. Maybe the working men had just warmed up and managed to get on board. But, you know, UE step up towards the end of that, and now, again, 2 maps in a row, the first half as close as it can be.
Yeah, and it's not that bad of a scoreline as well. That's great. That's what they needed. I mean, 10-5 would have been quite hard to claw back from, but they're able to pick up the pistol here. This could balloon out of control quite fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know, UE, 4th seed, they're actually looking towards, if they can win the pistol, if they can win this map, they're going to take out the 1st seed 2-0.
Yeah.
That is not something I was expecting to be saying. The absolute dark horse looking for the upset right now. And the working men, I think feeling the pressure is fair to say. Dudley well and truly stepping up in that first half. And to be honest, it feels like it's all riding on Dudley right now. If he can keep up this performance, then the working men can push this to a 3rd game. But if he starts to teeter off now, unless someone else picks up the slack, they are going to be looking at maybe a 2-0.
And you could see how worried sort of everyone looked there over on that side of the working men. Fry looked very nervous on that stage. He seemed like he wasn't quite comfortable, and that's not what you need, obviously. As you're saying, Dudley, quite an experienced member of that team, been around for so long, just popping off. He has to keep that up right now. He's the only one with that height behind him. His teammates need to fall into line, and this is the perfect way to do it. You take that aggression early on your T-half pistol, you kick it off. But Boaster, we've seen him do it in the past. Can he repeat history? Unfortunately, we'll get pinned back in the corner and has to just hold. They're going to try and flood in and get that frag onto him. He actually gets one. Can he get away with anything else? Not today. Robin will be able to put him down, but still, a nice little frag to bring it into a 4 versus 4 as this B retake comes out.
So Boaster not quite living up to last game, but here we go. It's going to be Jacob finding one with the Glock. Can't turn it into 2 though, and Joe trades it. Very, very even pistol so far as Robin has found a USP, but Chetty just annihilates him. And now 2 terrorists remaining. They've got the bomb down, but these CTs are looking for the retake, and it's going to be Fry on the scene, finding these headshots. Just one more click will do it, but Joe is pushing very aggressively, and he's looking for the knife. Ooh. Whoa, that was a little bit too close for comfort right there, but Joe does get shut down. That would have been pretty embarrassing, to say the least, right there for Fry if he had gone down to Joe right then.
Yeah, that would have been really awkward. This is nice as well. Good stuff for Fry into that pistol. It's kind of what he needed, that little bit of a relief being able to tap his way through. Pressure might be off a bit now. Once again, the scout buy is going to come out for UE. We know how effective these weapons can be with the increased mobility. You can go for those aggressive plays. Try and kick things off the back of what you want to do. Force the hand of the working men early.
Here we go. It's going to be 9-7 on the scoreline. United Estonia couldn't make that pistol happen. And unfortunately, Boaster, he had a very, very good spot. Nice little shot from Shetty there. Is going to be able to find the first kill of the round. Which is actually kind of crucial, considering they just lost that first round. If they can make this happen, if they can find that AK, use these Deagles, use these Scouts, you're in a good spot. But yeah, last round, if Boaster could have just found a couple more headshots with that USP, it could have been a very, very different story to what we're talking about right now. Chetty holding this angle, and it looks like the B site is going to be the call here, Jackie.
Yeah, Chetty, scout in hand. They're going to have to peek into him. If he can land the tag or even the frag, it'd be fantastic. It is going to be the second one, though, as he takes down Dudley with a little bit of a damage being transferred over and 20 HP remaining on him. That push could come out. They've invested quite heavily into the round, but they might as well try and do some damage here on the side of UE. Obviously, those Deagles can just rip their way through those armoured opponents. Nice angles on display here from the afterpunch, so just covering each other with the crossfires as well. It's going to be hard for Alexei to really achieve anything.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Alexei does have that Deagle to work with. Flashes on out, but it's going to be met by a Mac 10 and can't actually connect his shots here. T-Sac has already found 2 with his Galil. He's looking for a 3rd if he can find it. But it is just going to be Alexei in vents. Last man remaining will get shut down, and it's the working men getting another round on the board. That first pick not really working out for United Estonia, and now the working men managed to build up a little bit of bank for themselves, and we have to see the full eco coming out from United Estonia.
Yeah, the cash really not there to back them off. Obviously, they went for the force into the second round because you can afford it. Still be able to get that 4-buy out into the next one, but didn't really do too much damage to the economy of the working men. That's what they wanted to try and do as sort of the consolation prize, so a bit unfortunate for them now. Nice aggression coming out here as well, because they know they're not going to win this round just playing it slow. They want to try and force the hand. Let's see if they can do some damage. Dudley gets low, but will be able to get the kill. Robin actually goes down, which is a bit interesting. Chetty as well will fall though, and there's the rest of his teammates following suit. Unfortunately, just the 1 kill towards Robin into the round.
Yeah, very, very simple. Eco bash right there from the working men, and now it's all to play for United Estonia. They can finally get some rifles to play with. And you can see the M4's coming on out, as well as an AWP in the hands of Chetty. But Chetty, you know, this isn't the most convincing buy you've ever seen right now. Interestingly, Mick actually choosing to go for that helmet, despite being up against the AKs. Maybe would have liked to see a little bit more utility there.
Yeah, that's the thing, he's going to be aware that obviously a single bullet could take him down, potentially expecting them to just save onto his SMGs like they have. He doesn't want to risk just being hit by the aim punch, not being able to land his shot. So there is potential there, but as you're saying, it restricts their utility quite heavily. An aggressive play coming out a little bit later onto the round could overwhelm them to a very ridiculous extent. Slow stuff this time around though. They're going to try and utilise all of their nades effectively to actually force everyone out of position towards the bomb site. Chetty comes over, AWP in hand, wanted to get the pick. Didn't quite do it. It'll be Robin to kick this round off as he just rips his way through everyone in front of him with this Mac 10. That is just ridiculous. He's able to get away with that drive-by. Wants some more as well as Joe picks out.
And here we go, Joe looking for the retake right now. 3 versus 4, but these M4s are more than capable of melting down these players. They're out of utility though. None of these CTs have a single grenade to work with right now, and as they push onto the site, the working men are well and truly aware of the situation, but it's going to be a trade 1-for-1 right now as the defuse trying to get channel, but just not the right moment right there, as they know there's still a load of players. That is going to be the molly down onto the bomb, which just about seals the deal. Alexei needs to just get away with this AWP if he can. I don't think they're going to let him though. The Mac 10 can't quite land the bullets. Alexei, why did you peek, man? Just hold on to the sniper. It is going to end up going down for that one. Mac 10 is enough to finish off that player. And the working men, they're on a roll right now. You can see this was the moment where, you know, if Chetty maybe could have landed that bullet, that could have been a very different round, but Robin easily able to make things happen.
Yeah, Robin was just given sort of a free pass there to drive his way into the site and clear out both of those angles very quickly. And now UE, the signs of the damage that's been done to their economy is very well on display. Dudley as well, just options go for the SMG to still build up his cash into this, and it's a good decision. He knows what sort of cash they are going to have over onto United Estonia, so he's just driven his way out mid, got that first pick, and they can slow it down.
Well, they're going to have to slow down. There we go, Jacob finding one onto Alexei. And this B site is well and truly the working men's now. And honestly, at this moment in time, Boaster with a very nice little shot all the way down there. But yeah, at this moment in time, this game is certainly starting to look like the working men's map to win. They're 5 rounds up, looking like it's going to be 6 rounds up at this stage unless we see just something ridiculous come out of Chessie, but I don't even expect him to try this one, to be quite honest. Just hold on to that deagle for the next round.
I mean, he hasn't invested too much into it. Could try and go for it if he wants to, obviously no armor, but the cash isn't great, so if he wants to hold on to that one for the next round, he definitely could do so. Fortunate if he would have got that frag onto Robin, would have made their lives a little bit easier, but won't really pay out. Oh, look at the cash though. I mean, it wouldn't even make that much of a dent. Next them, they can just chill out.
Well, that is going to be the working men just about shut down at this point. Just 2 players remaining. Jacob and Dudley still got the AKs. They can still make this happen. We've seen crazier rounds than this, but Alexi going to try his best to shut that down as he finds one. Dudley trades it back though, and with 6 HP, he's got a very tall task on his hands, but it's certainly still viable with that AK if he can just find those 1 taps. So this would be crucial. Finds one for himself. If he wins this round, he might have just won the working men this game, to be quite honest, if they can get that momentum back. But 6 HP, he has to get these headshots before a single bullet flies his way. It's not going to be an easy ask from it.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically an impossible situation. They have that crossfire and lockdown towards mid. He needs to recover the bomb, and they just have that angle covered. So as soon as he walks in, even if he gets that opening frag, the trade should be there instantly.
And they have to look anywhere on him. 20 seconds, he doesn't have any time. He's just going to have to start sprinting in a second, I think. And
yeah,
there he is. He's going to charge on in, but just gets shut down by Joe. You know, that was never going to be a good situation. He basically had to look for the 2K as well. He couldn't even take the bomb and plant it at that point. So it was never going to be an easy round for him. But it means that the working men now actually, economy-wise, on the back foot. United Estonia find themselves the advantage. They've got all of the rifles they could ever dream of. Utility lines coming in from working men. They're not done just yet.
No. And this seems like it is actually going to be an aggressive door burst where they just flood their way out on towards the A-bomb side. No utilities, they won't actually go for the smoke play. They can smoke off short, Molotov 1 player out from the back of quad, and then they just sort of have to flood in and hope they can do enough damage from that. Robin most likely going to use that smoke as well on towards truck, probably. That's Jacob, no, that's the other one. But yeah, the smokes go out. There's the Molotov as well to try and force anyone out of position. But they're unaware about this elevated angle. Boast is going to utilize it quite effectively. Takes down Fry, and here comes the response as well. Everyone else is flooding their way on towards A. They're aware that this is going to be the straight commitment play from the working men, but there's Robin. Such a key player for the side. Unfortunately, will only claim 1 before Alexi puts him down. T-Sack with the response as well. Look how low everyone is, Joe, as they try and scramble to get the bomb planted.
I was about to say 3 versus 3, but when you're all on 20 HP, it's not a good situation to be in. Those pistols are going to be crucial if they can find their headshots. Just 15 HP on T-Sack right there, but he has been a huge player. Gets shut down though by Joe, and now suddenly Jacob, last man standing, has the Tech 9. If he can find the headshots, if he can just stop the defuse, he's not going to be able to find his shots though. Joe survives on the very last little bit of a lifeline there, 2 HP, but it means that United Estonia, they get yet another round on the board. They're closing this gap, but the working men, they've got some cash, they've got some dollar to work with. The rifles are going to come through once more. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a game on our hands here. 13-11 is the scoreline. In United Estonia, they are not going to lose this one without a fight.
Yeah, they're not going down. I mean, you know, it was sort of that general consensus. Both of these teams have always had very efficient CT halves. And when they have so much individual talent and they can just pop off like that, much like Fry's showing, there is chances that they can claw their way back into it. Only 2 rounds away from being on a level standing. But being a man down actually seems to be able to return to that. This is an absolute bloodbath towards mid. Robin, the last one stand, unfortunately couldn't find the frag on towards Che. He slipped his way back through vents, and it's a 3 versus 3 with essentially equal health across the board as well. And Joe snaps back T-Sack's head and has the bomb in a great spot. Jay comes there, arrived on the scene, wants to cause a little bit of havoc, but unaware of the angle from back. He is railed down, and it's just Boaster and Robin. 16 HP versus 100. He has the kit, a Molotov to work with, and that smoke. That Molotov could be so damaging into this round. Robin wants to reposition as well. He cannot just stay on the site. This could work out quite well as well. Just sitting by Sandpit. If Boaster doesn't clear this angle straight away, it would only take 1 bullet to remove him.
Certainly would, but it would have been the working men getting back their momentum, getting back on top of things, but United Estonia do manage to make things happen. They've got back into this game. It's just a 1-round difference right now. The money is still there. Let's remember, the working men, they're now on a loss streak. They're going to keep on consistently getting these rifles, and actually, The cash is really not looking great for United Estonia. Every single round has been down to the wire. They finish these rounds with 1, maybe 2 players, and that means every single round they have to get those rebuys in.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, fairly consistently, it's been sort of 2 players left on that CT side when they win these rounds. So their economy's been getting worse and worse time and time again. As soon as they lose a round, Joe, they're going to be just busted and battered. They need to keep up this win streak. Things are getting harder and harder, though. As you can see it coming into play there. Not really much utility left to play with because it was all they could scrape together.
Here we go. The counter boost going through Vent. Chetty got a good kill from this position last round. I don't think he's going to be able to find anyone over towards mid this time. As this working men's side has all gathered up towards this B half of the map. Just Robin waiting on a rotation from Boaster, and he might just be able to find it. Boaster looking like he wants to push on out, but Robin decided it's rotation o'clock right now, and he's going to head over towards his team. Still hanging around a little bit, though. And this is tense right now. The working men, again, we've seen this before last game when it was getting towards the end of the game, and it was this close. They were like, okay, let's take this slow. Let's work out what we're doing. We don't want to rush things, but looks like the push is about to begin, Jackie.
Yeah, that play coming out. This is great as well. Robin towards mid. He wanted to try and work his way through Vents, but instead actually got himself a bonus with a kill on towards Chetty. Alexi does respond as he takes down Jacob, but unfortunately Mick falls. Joe is on the back of the site. If they don't clear this, he could be ridiculously huge. Such a catalyst into the round, and he's biding his time. The patience on display is just ridiculous, Joe. Look at this as he just waits for the right moment, strikes then on towards Fry, removes him, eliminates Dudley as well as Boaster came in with that frag, but unfortunately the nade blows him out of the server. Alexi's going to hit the ground, and once again it's a 1v1 with Boaster being the final CT. There's the Molotov! And unfortunately, T-Sack being sent off to the Burns ward.
Boaster, that was absolutely beautiful. Knew that it was a low HP player, knew he was just going to try and get the bomb down, throws a perfect molly, and wins his team the round. United Estonia tie things up. And I don't even know what to say about this moment when it's this close, when the fights are this kind of back and forth trading. I don't think the fact that he's got a FAMAS is going to be that big of a deal because it's generally been very close range combat regardless. T-Sack opening this round up though with that AK onto Boaster. Trading, I don't Estonia tie things up. And I don't even know what to say about this moment when it's this close, when the fights are this kind of back and forth trading. I don't think the fact that he's got a FAMAS is going to be that big of a deal because it's generally been very close range combat regardless. T-Sack opening this round up though with that AK onto Boaster. Kind of punishing Boaster for what happened in the last round, getting a little bit of revenge.
It's unfortunate as well because Boaster really has been this player that's so calm and consistent in these clutch situations. Eliminating him that early could have a knock-on effect later on in towards the round, but let's see how that is going to unfold. It's early days yet. Seems like it could be a late round A play. They do have the utility to work with to actually smoke off the site, get up those smoke walls, break things down and actually be able to secure it. Alexi will get taken down, got a little bit overconfident, wanted to go for the information play. He's been removed now. They have to wait for Mick to come around with a flank, get all the information, then they can begin this retake.
Certainly can, but it's going to be Jacob and Robin starting this off. I say starting this off, getting another couple of kills. Joe is on the scene though, and he's not looking to go down without a fight. Finds one, and I think he's decided that's just about enough, not wanting to push too far. I mean, we were talking about how Joe has to step up for this team. We were saying he's the guy that has to make this happen. Well, he certainly stepped up in this game. He is top fragging for his team. He's been flanked though, and I think he's reached the end of his life expectancy right there. You know, getting 2 kills there in that situation, 1 versus 5, using that M4 effectively, definitely still pulling it out for his team. Still, you know, damaging the economy of the working men. But here we go, no money left. United Estonia.
This is the thing. This is what we were saying. Even though they've won so many rounds consistently, when you're forcing out that many rebuys round after round, it gets to the point where you finally lose a round. You're in just economic hell. You have nothing left. I mean, their money's fallen more than the pound has, Joe.
And that's saying something. Well, to be fair, the pound's actually regained a lot of traction. But let's not talk economics right now. Let's talk Counter-Strike and Global Offensive, because it's going to be a lot of mid-control gained here for the working men, and it looks like they're pushing on in as Chetty just takes the head of Jacob. Just annihilates him with that Nova. But here we go. It's going to be Fry stepping into the scene with that AK and finds a couple of nice little kills for himself. And that's both of the shotguns down. Those eco weapons paid off a little bit. They managed to find one onto Jacob, but it's not really the ideal situation, and United Estonia, I think this round might be out of their control at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, as you're saying, it's not too bad. I mean, that gun's basically paid for itself off the back of the kill rod being so high there. But it's still an awkward situation to be in right now. This retake isn't going to happen as well. They've invested into armor, so if they can save it, it would be great. Mick instead going to try and go for the trade. Actually gets a follow-up frag as well. He can grab that AK and just scurry away. Just hold onto that. That's all he needs to do.
Yeah, and he will do that. I wasn't sure if he was actually going to go try and get that 1 versus 2 there, but on 7 HP, I'm not sure that would have been the greatest of ideas. He's going to be able to hold on to that beautiful little case-hardened AK for himself. And here we go, match point now for the working men. And look at this buy coming out from United Estonia. It's convincing is the last word that comes to mind when you see this kind of buy. The Mag 7 in the hands of Joe, though. And obviously that AK brought through for Mick. We've seen this team do crazy things with the scout before, and it's going to be in the hands of Chetty here. If he can make the shots connect, if he can make things happen for his team with this sniper, maybe, just maybe, they can still get this round on the board. And it's going to be Alexi getting a deagle kill to open things up. He's traded straight back across, though. So 4 versus 4 now.
Nice use utility, actually, is going to force Boaster out of position. And he find the frag, just spamming away with that Famas to see if anyone's going to push into him. They're still just holding him back, though. He can't really just sit there and wait for the push to come out. Unfortunately, missing his flash as well. Isn't going to matter that much, though, as they have started to back off. Going to reposition and go for that mid-aggression.
Yeah, trying to layer up the pressure right now. And honestly, you know, the B rotation looks pretty juicy right now for the working men if they do want to go for that one. But Chetty going to be about to peek mid, I think. It's not quite going to find anyone. They've not pushed from that boost position just yet. A couple of the players up here, but the bomb isn't going to be there itself. And they are going to slowly but surely head towards B. Dudley finds one onto Mick, though. And it's looking good for the working men. This could be the round that seals them this game and pushes this to a third map. Are they going to be able to find that map on Mirage? Boaster dropped as well. 7 and a United Estonia have. Make that just a scout as Chetty, the last man remaining. This could be going to a third map, ladies and gentlemen. As Chetty looking for the shots, but he just can't find them. Gets the tag, can't turn it into the frag. He keeps on missing the no-scopes, but he finally gets Dudley. Little bit of a clown fiesta between those two players. As now it's all on the retake. Chetty, he's got to go for a 1 versus 3. This has got to be basically the most ridiculous play of the game so far. Chetty finds one, but he's going to get shut down, and that means that the working men, they've managed to make it happen. They've took the second map, and ladies and gentlemen, we're going on to Mirage.
Yeah, and that is scary. That's a scary thought, Joe. Mirage being that third place map, we said UE, they needed to carry it on. They had to finish this up in 2, ideally, to really set that pace and win this out. But I mean, Mirage now, this is going to be shaky for them. It's so unfortunate as well. I mean, these rounds, so close down to the time, and it just put their economy in such a horrific state that when they finally lost, they lost for good.
Yeah, I'm so intrigued to see how these two teams play on Mirage now, because I know we've already talked about this quite a lot. The fact that Dust2, Cash, very kind of
similar.
mixed team-oriented maps. Mirage is not that kind of map. Mirage is the kind of map where you have to have those set pieces down. You have to be able to work as a team and go for those rotations. This is a very close map. The rotation from site to site is not very long, so it's very easily punished. If you go for a push and you trade fairly evenly, you're actually not in a great spot at that point.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of sort of that's up for grabs on a map like Mirage. The working men, in the past, they've been so heavily dominant time and time again at just annihilating their opponents. So UE, they need to go into this. They need to keep sort of some of the star plays we've seen sprinkled through, really collaborate everything and bring it together for that last-ditch attempt.
Yeah. Obviously, you can see every game between these two teams has a full-on highlight reel. And the team's just going to kind of have a moment here, I think, to regroup and go back to the drawing board, work out what the strategy is going to be going into Mirage. And just look at Robin annihilating the squad. That was such a stellar round from him. Obviously, it was against an eco, but it was more about, I think, the positioning and just like control of knowing what he wants to do, knowing what he wants to achieve in the round. But I mean, this entire game was so back and forth. And same in the first map as well. These two teams, despite what the group stage results might say, feel just so evenly matched to me.
It's that sort of style as well, though. It's when you pin two mixed sides up against each other on these heavily favoured mixed environments, you set yourself up for sort of an epic display, because it is everyone's strengths versus everyone's strengths.
Yeah.
There's no one that really can't show up at any moment, and the only thing it came down to throughout both of these games that were sort of quite all over the place was who was going to be the one that specific round to pop off for either side.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Joe definitely stepped up to the plate. We
Yeah.
were talking about how last season he was the top fragger of the season. This season we hadn't seen as much of him. He'd been a little bit quieter, not really been able to connect his shots quite as well. Clearly that's gone. That's out of the window again, and Joe is back on the scene, because this game he just stepped up. And just this was one of the perfect moments from Joe as well, where you see the trigger patience, waits for the bomb to go down, and makes it happen for his team. He even gets a second tag as well. And you know, it didn't. That play right there, basically, it wasn't quite enough to win his team the round on the spot, but it just meant so much for his team. And then obviously you saw Boaster just getting the ridiculous volley in. That was Chetty just desperately trying to cling on to the game at the end there. It never really quite happened for them, though. And, you know, the rest is history. It did go the way of the working men, and it means that we are going to be going on to Mirage now. We're going to give the players about 10 minutes, I think, just to kind of regroup, work out what's going on with themselves, and kind of, you know, get ready for this final map. So we are going to go into a quick break. We'll be back in just a few minutes for the third and final match of this first semi-final. We will have our grand finalist in about an hour's time, so make sure you join us in just a few minutes.
So, Seldom, are you tired of dealing with unreliable sites? You don't have to search for the